Am I the asshole for stopping paying my ex's bills? So my ex and I split up about 3 years ago. No bad feelings, we just drifted apart until we realized that we were now co-parents, not husband and wife anymore. We have 2 kids, 13 and 10. My ex used to work as an infrastructure engineer, and I was working as an owner-driver with my own truck. At around the time the kids were born, we decided that she was going to be a stay-at-home mum, the truck was going well, and I had bought a second truck and a van, so I stayed home doing all of the planning and admin while I had the trucks and vans out. When the smallest started school, the ex went back to work part-time, but her time out of the workforce had hit her really hard, and she needed to learn lots of stuff, and basically she couldn't get back in at her previous level and had to pretty much start over. Over the years, the haulage firm had expanded, and frankly, it was getting a bit of a pain in the ass. We were too big for where we were, and were needing to move to a new yard, so I sold it off for a reasonable sum and set up freelancing as a dev, as I did computer science at uni. We both had relatives pass away, leaving us property and money, so we were mortgage-free on the family home. When we split, I moved into a house that I had inherited. We basically split the assets in half, split the costs of the kids' activities in half, and when we were sat looking at the money, she concluded that she would need to go back to work full-time, and she would miss time with the kids, as they were with me the 3 days that she was at work and every other weekend. And I felt a bit bad because if she hadn't been out of work for so long, then she would be in a better place career-wise. So I offered to cover half of her bills until the kids went off to uni. She didn't want to at first, but I said that she helped me out and had now suffered as a result, so it was only fair that I returned the favor. It's helping my kids out, and I didn't want her to be running down the savings that was essentially the kids' inheritance. So this situation has worked out about as well as it can. We co-parent happily, everything is all good, until she met a new guy. He's someone that we knew from way back, but we lost touch with. They started dating, she's really happy, and she's talking about him moving in, which I'm okay with. The kids get on with him and I trust her judgment and know that she wouldn't put anything ahead of the kids. So I said to her, if Lado is moving in, then you won't need the money towards the bills, will you? She said no, she wouldn't, but she was thinking of putting it into the kids' accounts. Great idea, says me. I'll put some on their cards for pocket money and the rest in their savings. So that was what we agreed. But when the new chap found out, he went up the wall and accused me of being controlling and financially abusive. A few of our friends have also said that he's got a point and that it looks like jealousy. So, am I the asshole here? Comments, Hunt Administrative says, not the asshole. Looks like he was interested in the free ride, and now that gravy train has stopped, he's all upset. Your ex had no issues with the money stopping because she isn't interested in taking advantage of you, and 2 adults living together should be able to cover their own expenses, but new boyfriend doesn't want that. Swillshop says, not the asshole. You and your ex have a long history of respecting and supporting each other, and you both put the kids' well-being first. You and her discussed and agreed that this change continues the mutual respect and support, as well as prioritizing the kids' well-being. Friends' opinions are to be ignored. You gave extra when you felt she needed it. She agrees that now she doesn't need it, and she never viewed it as something that she was entitled to, and you both want the money to be redirected to the kids. I'm searching high and low for a whiff of jealousy. Smell nothing but mutual respect, reasonableness, and exemplary co-parenting. If the boyfriend is a decent chap, he will 1. Calm down, 2. Realize that he has no standing to insert his opinion and that he needs to respect and trust your ex's judgment and her decisions regarding her kids, and 3. See how wrong his judgment is. If he was counting on that extra money to subsidize his lifestyle, then your ex may want to rethink how great a guy he truly is. I'm seriously impressed with the maturity of both OP and his ex. They seem to work out even tricky issues well, without any lingering resentment and with an eye on the kids' welfare. The secret ingredient is money. Agreed. It's so much easier to play nice if everyone is fat and happy. If one or both sides are struggling, expect the inner savage to come out. Not the arsehole. Tell anyone moaning that you pay child support for your children, not grown men looking for a free ride. He'll already be saving in rent as the house is paid for. Is he really looking for his bills and groceries to be paid for by you too? If someone moves into another's home, they contribute to living there. That said, contribute too, not pay half as your kids are eating the food and running up the utility bills. Yeah, no, not the asshole for paying your ex's bills. This honestly just reads as a leech is moving in, and the leech is sad that he doesn't get the free meal ticket that he wanted. This seems like a genuine fork in the road for your ex, and I don't imagine this relationship continues from here because, realistically, even if he does back down and is like, oh, you know what, fine, you win, you get what you want, I'll stop pressing for you to make him hold up his end of the bargain here, whatever. That is how I imagine he would present it. And would you want to be in a relationship with someone where, very early on, they are this dramatic and this demanding? Because what next? What else is down the road for this relationship? Can you genuinely be with someone like that? Because I feel like they'd do my head in, and they are just with me for my money and what I can give them. So, no, not the asshole. And I feel like you should have a talk with her about this. Back up to the post, there is an edit/update. We have joint 50-50 custody of the kids, so I have no actual obligation to be paying anything. But that said, I don't want my kids to miss out on their many and varied activities, so I carry on paying for half of those. Likewise, I offered the extra money to help with bills because I wanted my kids to benefit from time with both parents and also not have to live in a house where money is a worry. Some have mentioned when division of assets from inheritance and selling my business. These are mostly locked away in long-term investments, so they aren't available. We were perhaps unwise in doing this, but we saw it as the kids' inheritance. My ex would rather have worked more than dipped into that money for living costs. The ex has been around for a cup of tea and a chat. It seems that Lado was indeed thinking that she was his meal ticket. Apparently, he had suggested moving in, but not told her that his landlord was ending his tenancy on a Section 21 to sell the property. When she started discussing money and his contribution, he asked why when I was paying for the kids. So she told him if he was living there, then he needed to chip in, and that if he moved in, she couldn't keep asking for money from me. So she's upset, and I think that's going to be over. In the meantime, he's ranting to anyone that will listen to him that I'm the typical evil, jealous ex and controlling with her money. And now, on to the update. Thanks for all the comments and advice. I just thought that I would update you all on the last week. So Lado turned out to have been being kicked out of his place, not through fault, as the landlord was selling, and he hadn't told my ex. Also, he works with my best mate, who told me that he's on incredibly thin ice and was on his last chance for attendance. Me, the ex, and Lado got together at the weekend and had a long chat. The main points were, if he's going to be her partner and live there, then he has to step up and contribute both financially and also with the children. As regards to the bills, both my ex and I had an expectation that another adult in the house would be contributing, meaning that bill money from me would be superfluous. I agreed that stopping the money because someone moves in and potentially restarting it if they move out does look like it's controlling, although it was agreed that I didn't have that intent. I said I would continue giving my ex the money and that if there was a surplus, the requirement was that she would put it into the kids' accounts. I do trust her that she will do this. At that point, I left and went home thinking that all was good. I'm on holiday with the kids this week, and I got a warning that the house alarm was going off. I rang my neighbor, and he went around and said that one of the windows had been smashed and that my other car had all of its windows smashed. I logged into my cameras on the iPad, and sure enough, it's Lado smashing the fuck out of the car and throwing bricks at the window. Turns out that after I left, him and the ex had a major talk where she laid out some home truths and expectations, and when she didn't like the reaction she got, she ended it. So a couple of days later, he got pissed and came round to my place and smashed it up. I obviously reported it to the police, and with me being away, they spoke to me over the phone and asked me to send all of the footage if I could, and a statement, and they'd speak to him that day. Turns out, he got stopped on the way back from mine, was over the limit, and was sleeping it off in custody before he could be charged. Edit: I've seen a couple of comments about how I need to speak to the ex and tell them to be more careful. I 100% trust her judgment in who comes into the kids' lives. I was just as surprised by him as she was. And like most people, she's capable of learning from experience. Also, another edit: the glaziers have been back out. I owe the lady next door big time for all the help that she's been, and apparently the total bill just for the house is going to be around £7,000. That's not counting the car, which is an old Rover that I was restoring, so no idea how much that will cost. In the comments, Foxy Sly Old Sturdy Fox says, "Here's wishing Lado all the health, happiness, and success that he deserves." With him being locked up, he'll for sure lose the job that he was on thin ice at because of attendance. Though I guess if he goes to prison for destruction of property and not being able to pay for the damage, at least he'll have a roof over his head and 3 meals per day. OP says, "This is Britain. He'll get fined, at most a low-level community order." Edit: He'll lose the job anyway because he'll certainly be banned from driving. Well, looks like you unintentionally took care of the mother of your children from dangers. Good thing that the kids weren't there to see it. Have a good life, Lado. A good, long, long life. Your ex is probably grateful that it imploded so soon and she discovered what her ex-boyfriend is really like. Yeah, it's a bit rough for OP, but better to learn with his windows rather than ex or kids. Absolutely. It's insane that people will react like that when they don't get what they want. They just have a little hissy fit, little anger attack, and take it out on someone that is not reasonably involved in the situation. Oh, you, as the ex-partner of this woman I'm trying to date, won't bankroll me? I'm gonna destroy your house. That is a reasonable way to go about this. Destroy your property as well. I am a level-headed individual. Critical thinking is the thing that I do best. Ah yes, that went so well for him, didn't it? Goodbye, Lado. And goodbye, Lado's job. Good luck to him going forward. OP, you did the right thing here. You didn't deserve to be dragged into a bullshit mess like this, but I'm glad that you defended your ex and you did what is best for your ex and your children in this situation. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update. Our next post is by user ThrowRA Height Queen, and it's titled, "Do I, 20 male, dump my girlfriend, 19 female, over crying after a night out?" I met my girlfriend on Tinder about 3 months ago. We clicked instantly on Tinder. I could tell by her pics that she was my type and we had a lot in common. Same shows, both like soccer, same music preference, and had fun messaging until she asked me how tall I was. She was pretty upfront about preferring dudes who were 6 foot or taller. I told her that I was 5'8" and asked if it was done for me after that. She said she liked talking to me and that I was cute enough for her to look past my height. We went on a few dates in real life and clicked even better than we did online. We decided to become exclusive after a few weeks of seeing each other. A week ago, we went out to eat with her friends and their boyfriends. I'd met some of her friends before this, but this was the first time I met their boyfriends too. The dinner went fine and all of the guys were pretty cool. The only thing I did notice was that they were tall as hell and I was by far the shortest. I didn't really care, but I did notice it and whatever. Anyway, after the dinner, me and my girlfriend walked back to her apartment and she was quieter than usual and a bit short with me. I asked what was wrong. I thought maybe I said something dumb during the dinner, but she said she wasn't mad over anything I did. After we entered her apartment, she did open up and she said that me being so much shorter than her friends' boyfriends made her feel some sort of way. I asked her what the hell she meant by that, and she said she couldn't explain it. I asked her if she was embarrassed over me being short, and she said no, but it was just that she's used to dating tall dudes, and started crying. I mentioned her telling me that she's gotten over her height preferences, and she said she knows and that she felt bad about still feeling this way. She just kept saying sorry and crying. So I got mad a little and I said that I was leaving. She asked me to stay and I said something that I regret. I told her to go fuck herself and left her apartment. She's been calling and texting me since our fight. We talked on the phone once, but I haven't responded to any of her texts. She's apologized daily and said that she's sorry for hurting my feelings. She claims that she hasn't ever liked a guy as much as me, but I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but I just feel low-key kinda worthless, and I'm considering ending things, but I don't know. Because I haven't liked a girl as much as I liked her, but I don't know if I should be with someone this obsessed with height. Like, who cries over their boyfriend being shorter than their friends' boyfriends? I don't know. I'm closer to breaking up, but she's been apologizing so much, I think maybe I should give her a second chance. In the comments, quote, like who cries over their boyfriend being shorter than their friends' boyfriends? Mean and shallow people do. Not necessarily mean, it could be a combination of shallow and insecure. Not a good combination either. Yes, 100% necessarily mean, or grotesquely immature and inconsiderate, which is a shallow person's lazy version of mean. If a male friend came to me crying and I asked him what was wrong and he said he's sad because he really likes his girlfriend, but he usually dates girls 10 pounds thinner or with a cup-sized larger bra, I would instantly lose respect for him in a way that I'm not sure our friendship would come back from that. If he called to apologize and said I was right because such comments could hurt someone's feelings, I'd be plain. I'm not as disappointed about the likelihood that such comments could hurt someone's feelings as I am disappointed that he is so lacking in judgment that he would cry about such a childlike fetish that I pity the poor girl that he claimed to have liked. I was thinking exactly the same. What if he had told her, "Your boobs are too small, but you're cute, so I'm willing to look past it." Gee, thanks. Just horrible. My boyfriend is also 5'8", and we're the same height. I've always dated taller men, and my friends all have tall boyfriends. I don't give his height a second thought ever. That's how it should be. You're valid for leaving. And even if you're not fully secure, there are ways to handle it that are actually nice. When my husband and I started dating, I was incredibly self-conscious about my height. I'm 178 centimeters, so about 5'11", I think. I'm Norwegian, so not super tall, but still a good 10 centimeters above the national average. My husband is barely a few centimeters taller than me. And it certainly made me uncomfortable to hang out with other couples where the girl was significantly shorter than me and the guy was significantly taller than me and my husband. So you know what I did? I sucked it up because I'd already made my decision. What am I gonna do, ask him to grow a bit more? Like, come on. Yeah, no, I think her crying, making such a scene and having such a hissy fit over this is incredibly disrespectful. Like, what is your problem? Why did she even agree to date him if the height thing was such an insecurity and such a deal breaker for her that she has to internalize it and then take it out on him and be short with him a few months into dating? Like, Jesus Christ, she is so shallow for that. What is her problem? If I was him, I'd end it. I'd cut it off. That's insane to have such a huge emotional reaction over and to be so short and pretend like it's him. He's the one that hurt her. His existence was so sad and emotionally distressing that she just had a full-on reaction to him. No, Jesus Christ. He's just a guy of normal height. You agreed to date him. You talked about this, you discussed it, and now you throw it back in his face. Yikes. That's all I gotta say, yikes. Not the asshole OP. She is quite something. And now, onto the update. I tried posting an update twice, but it got removed, and I can't be asked to figure out why, so I'm posting it here. I don't know if anyone really cares, but thanks for all of the advice. I read literally every comment. I know most of the comments said to break up, but some others gave a perspective that really resonated with me. I finally replied to my girlfriend's texts, and we had a face-to-face meeting at my place. She was crying and even more apologetic in person than she was over texts. She told me that the day that we went for dinner with her friends was a shitty day, and she blamed her hormones for saying something hurtful to me, which I don't know how female biology works, but it seemed like a flimsy excuse. She also mentioned feeling under pressure about her friends being judgy that I'm shorter than her usual type, and all of that resulted in her snapping. I asked her if she was sure that she wanted to continue this relationship, and she said yes. According to her, she has no issue with my height and wanted me to give her a second chance, and I know a lot of y'all will be pissed, but I agreed. I didn't want to break up and we get along so perfectly in every other way, so yeah, I forgave her and we are still together. She promised to never bring up my height, and I said if she repeats her antics from last week again, then I'll break up with her, to which she agreed. Boring update, but yeah, thanks. In the comments, Mia Bank Guy says, I expect the update when he says her friends pick on her for dating OP and she doesn't defend him. This is most likely the upcoming outcome. Tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. It could be that her friends told her that they genuinely liked him and gave her an earful about her shallowness for being hung up about his height. I wonder if the girlfriend's friends really are judging his height or she's projecting. Either way is not great, but she may be way more in her head about this than she will admit. OP will find out for sure at some point. There are more landmines and tests down the road. When there are pictures of OP standing next to the girlfriend, or these two with other taller men, who doesn't have to be her friends' boyfriends, will the girlfriend feel the same embarrassment and wistfulness about OP not being the trophy height that she wants? If she wears heels, is she gonna feel some kind of way again about being the same height or taller than OP? I don't think it's a huge loss at this age if they don't work out, so I hope OP ends up happy with whomever he's with. I think it's 100% her. I assume they break up, she dates another tall asshole, and starts to realize how stupid this all is. I'm so glad I'm in my 30s. All the people who expect guys over 6 foot are immature young adults. By your 30s, the dating pool is so much smaller, so anybody with ridiculous expectations like that is generally fucking miserable, and you avoid them anyway. I agree that it does seem like a flimsy excuse. I've definitely cried over stupid shit while hormonal. My favorite is when my boyfriend brought home the exact food I was craving without me asking for it. He walked in the door, I smelled the food, and burst into tears. She's also 19, and the hormones hit way harder back then. Yeah, you know what also hits way harder at that age? The bullshit. Absolutely. How much you'll play into it, how much you'll believe it, how much you'll action the bullshit. Yeah, that is at play here, absolutely. And it still is not okay. She's making excuses. She didn't do the groundwork to be like, I am a bad person for what I did to you. What I said was wrong. She just said, the dinner with her friends, it was a shitty day, and I had some hormones going on, and I also felt under pressure by her friends because they were so judgy to me, and so I snapped at you because of all these things. Like, no, it's not okay. Stop blaming everything else and be like, I let my insecurities get the best of me. I took it out on you. I was a bad person for doing that. You didn't deserve it. I know what I did is wrong, and I'm going to commit to being a better person in the future. There are no excuses for my behavior. That's an apology. That's an admittance of what you did wrong, recognizing it, and you're going to be a better person in the future, acknowledging that. Instead, she says, all these other things were happening in my life, and that's why I did what I did. Oh, boy. Just such a bad apology from her. I don't think that relationship is going to last. Good luck, OP, and thanks for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.